Hello, hello to my water zodiac signs, my Cancers, my Scorpios, and my Pisces. So last month in November, we had the siren for our theme, and then the transitional theme energy was Venus from our different decks here. So what we're going to do, we'll have these off to the side, but we're going to get a new set of cards here for our theme energies, and then that'll be from the archetypes deck and then the alchemy deck, and then we'll divide it up by specific zodiac signs, getting a 3-card spread for each zodiac sign from the Light Seers Tarot. So let's get started now. We'll get that one out of the way. This one out of the way, and get our new theme card from the archetypes deck for December. Okay, archetypes deck for my water zodiac signs, my Cancers, my Scorpios, and my Pisces. Please give me the theme for December of 2022. Too many cards. One card, please. Theme for December of 2022 for the water zodiac signs. Under 2024. I was thinking about it. There was some in there. Almost. What is our theme? Thank you. Okay. The threshold. Okay. It's our theme card. Now we'll get our alchemy card. Okay. Okay, alchemy deck with regards to the threshold for our water zodiac signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. What is the theme transitional energy for December 2022? How does this tie in with the threshold for our water zodiac signs? What is the theme? Way too many cards. Thank you. There we go. That matches that. Look at that. That's funny. Okay. So the card that came out is Ash. So just off the bat, look at these colors. The opposition in this, the orange fiery color here at the bottom, the gray kind of black at the top here. It feels really, the threshold feels really big versus the flame of the ash is really small. So visually very, very stunning and interesting to look at. And quite a difference in color compared to last month. Look at this difference here, my water zodiac signs. Look at the colors. The siren and Venus, those pretty purpley pink colors versus we have lots more muted and just the pop of the orangey red here for the next month after for December. So very stark difference there for sure. But let's take a little bit closer look at these two cards, get a little bit deeper insight and knowledge, get a little bit closer. There we go. We'll move them back up once we're getting the specific signs. But we got the threshold and Ash. So water zodiac signs with last month, right? The siren and Venus. There was the call we were answering, the deeper feelings of the things we were passionate about that brought us beauty and joy and the true deep desires of ourselves, right? And after that month, we are left now at this threshold of something completely brand new, an initiation process happening. And the Ash complements this energy and shows what's to come at the same time. It's showing what's already happened, what's already come to pass, and what is to come to pass at the same time. We can see with the way the footsteps are, the feet in this picture here at the threshold, and what looks like jumping into flames, jumping into fire here, right? So standing in the ash, jumping into these new flames, this new threshold, coming into it. But at the same time, this is what is left at the end as well. After going through an initiation process, initiation being a very sometimes destructive process at the same time, as it is a brand new opportunity to grow and change and to come into new things, new energy. The threshold is the full energy in the tarot and that beginning card, that first card as we're stepping off this precipice into the unknown. But the threshold at the same time, there is a weight to it, a heaviness to it, because there is no turning back once we're through. And the threshold is usually a level up, a step up into bigger opportunities, new things, like being out of like a threshold. That's a big one, like in terms of spirituality, right? Going from childhood to adulthood. That's a huge threshold that we can't revert back. We can't go back once we've passed it, right? Once we graduate from high school into going into college or into the world, at that point, you don't go back once it is. These are big threshold points in our lives that happen. Once we have a child, right, that's another threshold. That's like you don't really go back typically after that. It's an experience that once it's happened, changes you in some capacity that you cannot revert back to once it's happened. And this is where the ash comes in, the end, the remains, the what's left after the change that's happened, right? Ashes usually after the flames and this more destructive energy, the big thing that's changed in our life that has brought about this new reality to us. But ash at the same time is the remembrance of that, the remembering of what has come before, and the softness and delicateness of it. Like you think about like Ash Wednesdays, right? And I think it's Catholicism specifically. I don't know if it's in other religions as well, right? But the ashes and the like putting it on the forehead and the remembrance of that, what that signifies. I don't have a ton of knowledge of that, honestly, but just that's the image that comes to mind, like the ash on the forehead, and the way ash is used in bringing about, like showing the cleansing almost that has already happened in our lives. The thing that we've already gone through this threshold here. We've already been through the threshold, and everything else that was before it has burned away. And all that's left is ash. That is all that's left. There's pieces where it's flows and moves with the wind, and it's a grieving process, but a calming process at the same time is kind of what it feels like. At least how I'm interpreting ash personally, maybe. I know that's not the case for everybody. Grieving is a very, very difficult thing sometimes to go through. And it varies situation to situation for what the grief is, right? It's like graduating from high school, going to college, or going from a child to an adult, right? There is a grief process there at the same time, right? We can't go back, so it's not going to feel the same. That's why a lot of people like graduation from high school, like there's a lot of tears, right? Because you can't, it's an ending and you can't go back once it's happened. So all that's left behind is this ash. And this also initiates us into this next process, into this threshold energy. It initiates us into what is to come. Taking what has passed and initiates us into what's to come as we grow and change and learn. This is why ash also, in terms of the guidebook, talks about like ancestral energy, generational energy, right? The ash of those who have come before us, our ancestors, our great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, so on and so forth, back through the generational line, and everything they've gone through, the ash of their influence on our lives, and how it affects us and how we move into this new threshold through this new energy. So for December, for my water zodiac signs, there's big energy here. Lots of big spiritual energy. It could be more in the physical as well for big like life changes that are happening, but it feels a very big in terms of like a spiritual realm area. So let us dive now further in for each individual zodiac sign. When you are ready, your timestamps are down below for each individual zodiac sign that you can hop into for Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So when you are ready, join me in your group and I will meet you there. See you soon. Bye. Hello to the zodiac sign of Cancer. Welcome. So we have the threshold here and we have ash out for our water zodiac sign. So Cancer, let us see specifically how this breaks down for you for the month of December with the Light Seers Tarot by getting 3 cards. So we'll pop those up here out of the way. So get our cards out here. Light Seers Tarot for Cancer for December of 2022. Please give us 3 cards in regards to the threshold and ash. What does Cancer need to know? What's going on for December? Card number 1, please. Too many. Okay. This one, please. Thank you. Okay. Ace of Swords. Card 2, please, or the second card. Thank you. Okay. And card 3, please. Third card. Third card for Cancer. Thank you. You want to keep that way, sideways? Okay, that makes sense. Let's do that. Okay. Pull these down. Pull this into frame here. There we go. Okay, so my fellow Cancers here, I'm a Cancer moon, so I'm kind of interested in this reading as well. Just so you know, for cards like this for sideways, since it's not a past, present, future, it can be read that way if you feel called to do so, but I usually just read the cards as a whole here. So this one's very just interesting depending on how the energy progresses or how it looks as a whole, and how the energy moves and changes for everybody. So card 1 over here that we have, the first card is the Ace of Swords. This one's cool. I did a little bit of research on the Ace of Swords recently. The second card that's out that we have is the Nine of Swords, but that came out in the reverse. So there's that one. And then we have the Seven of Cups here, sideways, so not upright or in the reverse. Definitely kind of even showing more confusion than usual for them. So my fellow Cancers, let us see what this means now for December of 2022. So my fellow Cancers, there's a lot of confusion kind of happening here, right? There's a lot going on in our heads right now in terms of Ace of Swords, right? It's like, look at all these stairs that are going through in the brain, what's kind of happening here in this person's mind. There's a lot going on. Ace of Swords is usually a really good energy too, where it's like, okay, hey, here's this brilliant idea. Here's this eureka moment, this thoughts this we have where it's like, okay, hey, here's the next thing we're doing, this next big step, right? But whatever this big idea is, whatever this wisdom, this aha moment we've had comes with a lot of confusion and fear and choices that we're not quite sure how to make, which makes sense in terms of the threshold and ash here for sure, right? This threshold, this new idea, this step into this big unknown, this big new idea, this big new thing that we haven't done before that we're not quite sure how to go about doing even in the first place here, right? Moving forward in this, taking this next big step that the threshold requires here in December of 2022, moving forward especially as we're moving into the next year, right? We're coming into January with a fresh new energy with 2023. So Nine of Swords here, lots of like heavy thoughts and fears going on, right? The Nine of Swords coming in reverse, it does mean we're kind of coming out of it a little bit. We've been kind of in this fear for such a long time, so it's finally like starting to dissipate a little bit. These birds are finally kind of going away, but also it's just still really, really heavy energy at the end of the day. And this card is also supported in terms of fear and confusion with our Seven of Cups here, right? Seven of Cups showing all these different choices and things that we want and we're looking at, and all these options that are available to us that we want to pursue potentially. All these cups looks very shiny and interesting and we want to pick all of them, but that's not what we actually need to do. We actually need to maybe narrow down our choices here and figure out what's going to actually make the most sense, what's going to be the most beneficial for us, right? This kind of coming in reverse where it's like, we know what's going on here. We know that all these objects are shiny and bright, and we are just trying to actually narrow down what the best option is going to be in the long run for us, especially since we're dealing with so much fear here, right? This whatever big new next thing, this next idea is that's coming here with the Ace of Swords and the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is just showing all the fear attached to it, all these things that we are working through the process of burning away with this ash over here, this transformation energy, right? The ash is what comes after the flames, after we've put all these things into the flames to burn, to be purified, to be cleansed, and the ash is what's left over, the actual clarity of thoughts that we finally get to have with the Ace of Swords, the clarity of the purpose, the reasons, the being. It's that like that wisdom at the end, right? That what's left over is the actual core essence of what actually matters here. And that's really big and important with the Seven of Cups as well, right? Diving deeper into the feelings and the intuition, cups being the water energy in the suits of the tarot, and water being our emotions, our feelings, those deeper intuitive pieces, really diving into that, right? And figuring out what's actually the matter here, what's actually matters, what's actually the big deal, because once we can focus on that, this also helps the sword energy dissipate. This also helps the sword energy cleanse itself out a little bit, right? If we know what's going on, we know ourselves and we know what we want, what's important to us, then we don't have as much fear about the situation. There's still going to be fear because a threshold energy and initiation energy is a big deal. It's a lot taking place all at once. It feels like a big deal. It feels like a big next step, and it's nothing to be taken lightly, of course. So definitely is a lot of fear that comes with that energy here with the Nine of Swords. There's a lot to think about, a lot to take care of, right? When I was talking about the threshold energy in the beginnings of the reading for all three zodiac signs, water zodiac signs, right? Threshold is that next big life step, right? That's the getting married, moving, a child, like having a kid, graduating like from school, so coming from childhood into adulthood. These really big steps, these really big energies, these big milestones in our life. That's usually what the threshold energy kind of represents in this initiation process, right? Somebody who maybe is having a child for the first time, that's being initiated from just a regular adult person into motherhood or fatherhood, being a caretaker of some sort, that caretaker initiation process. It's a whole separate thing, right? There's a whole big energy involved in that. And this initiation process happens in many aspects of our lives, in many of these big steps, right? That change from being initiated from a child into adulthood, right? That coming of age. There's a lot of big things involved in that. Or say you're moving house, right? You're moving to a different state or a different country, right? There's lots of things involved in that, this whole process. Say, for example, you're moving to a different country, right? If it's not a country where you speak the language, it's not the same culture as yours, there's a huge initiation process there for being initiated into the culture, into the lifestyle, into the language, into the food, into the clothing and the music and the art. There's so much there, right? These threshold energies, the threshold and the initiation process that comes from that is huge energy here. But with this Ace of Swords, right, it's something that we are willingly stepping into, that we're excited about, this brand new idea, right? That's the idea that came out of the blue, right? Where it's like, okay, all of a sudden, hey, I want to go to this new college. I'm changing my career field. It's that something you're super excited and happy about, and that feels right because it is this eureka aha moment here. But with that process, right, stepping into this new energy with Ace of Swords and the threshold comes a lot of fear, a lot of confusion, and a lot of cleansing and changing and progressing things in a different way here with the ash energy and our swords and cups right here, right? There's a lot of things to look at to clear away. If it's we're completely changing our life and what's kind of happening, that fear of jumping out and moving outside of our comfort zone, the safety net that we have, comes with a lot of fear. But at the same time, we have to burn this fear that's taking place and use the ash to actually help us progress and move forward, right? And then there's fear and confusion with what's actually the best way to move forward. What's the best way to go about, right? Or it's like, okay, what do I live in the city? Do I live in the suburbs? Do I live out in the rural area? All these choices we have. You get to the point where you're like picking that new house or that place you want to live, and it's like all the options all of a sudden for where you're supposed to live, where you want to live, where is going to make the most sense to live, depending on the factors of like your job, maybe your significant other, if you have kids, then to worry about like the schools and all those pieces, right? There's so many options and so many shiny new things to look at and things to consider with the Seven of Cups here. So that just brings more confusion and more fear into the situation as well. With ash energy, though, we're really trying to narrow all this energy down. We're trying to really just cleanse and focus on what actually matters here with ash, okay? Cancers, that's going to be the most important thing, right? We know where we're going. We know what the end goal is, it seems like, here with the threshold and the Ace of Swords, but we're in the process of trying to clear and make the space for it so we can actually get to that goal in the long run with ash, and recognizing what's going on here with the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups in the sideways position. The ash energy is going to be super important in order to help transform this energy through December and even longer term, it feels like, through maybe even the next year, Cancers. This ash energy is going to be very, very, very important and very, very relevant, and will probably show up multiple times in multiple ways. Keep an eye out in terms of signs for things like fires and burnings and cleansings. That ash energy here is going to show up in probably a lot of different ways you're not expecting necessarily, but it's going to be very important to pay attention to and really hone in on, because with us honing in here, right, the Seven of Cups energy, really focusing on those deeper intuition feelings, those things that really matter. once we drill down to the core of everything, like the core things that matter in the situation, that's going to help make everything else easier is what this feels like. If we can really focus down on what we're fearful of, what this fear is with the Nine of Swords energy, getting down to the root of it, what each individual cup is holding here, we can really help clear out some of this energy we have, right? The fear won't ever completely go away, of course, right? Something this as big as the threshold initiation energy that is existing here is always going to be scary in some regard, but we can get to the point where it's like an exciting scary versus just downright terrifying and petrifying. Where we don't want to move forward, we don't want to make any progress here, where just if it gets too heavy, it bogs us down too much, where there's too much fear that we can't even kind of move past it here. So there's a deep dive in this energy here. Even you can kind of see it with the Ace of Swords, right? Going down further and further down these steps. In this case, it's like, okay, hey, this is this new idea coming up, but we're kind of need to do the reverse in this case and work our way down, because down here at the bottom is what is really holding back the situation, or will hold back the situation in the long run for Cancer here, for in terms of a future tense of some sort, right? So if we don't work through this fear, right, we're never going to do this thing that we're supposed to be doing. And it's a big energy that we want to do, that is important to us, that's important for the next step of our lives, with Threshold here and Ash energy. And there is lots of support with it as well, because this Ash energy does talk about the things that have passed, our ancestral energy, the energy of those that have come before us, the things that no longer serve us but still helped build us and got us to the situation we're in now, put us in the situation who we are today. That is the history. There is history here in Ash energy that is super important to recognize and take part of and use the wisdom of in order to progress and take that next step forward, work our way back up these stairs into the next threshold energy, taking that next big leap into this next big area and next big, like, part of our lives, that next big journey in our lives, that next big, what's the right word here? Just that next thing, whatever it is, but it's a big thing. It's that next big goal, that next big hope, that dream that we're trying to accomplish now. And the situation here for Cancer, it's just really recognizing that this is what's happening, this is what we're working through at the time, and where we're going. So I'll be very curious come January, the next energy as we're kind of getting in, even for like the yearly reading that I do for this all 12 zodiac signs. Cancer, yours is going to be very interesting to kind of look at in the term of the whole year, and then even just as we're moving into the next energy here for January. But this is what we got for December. It's going to just be important now as we're kind of coming in for the Northern Hemisphere for winter months to just really take time to be with yourself, figure out what's going on, journal, do your self-care routines, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, whatever you need to just really make sure you're listening to yourself, your needs, and what you're talking about, what your fears are. So that way they can be out in the open and seen, and that we can clear away once we've like addressed the issue of the fear, then we can cleanse it away, okay? So that'll be important through December here into January, my Cancers. So just keep that all in mind here. I'm going to be very interested to see what progresses and how this energy changes come January, but this is what we got for December. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I will see you next time in the next video. Bye. Hello to my Scorpios. So Scorpios, for December of 2022, we have the Threshold here and Ash. So now let us get 3 cards from the Light Seers Tarot and get this energy a little bit more specific for you, Scorpios, and see what December has in store for you. So Light Seers Tarot with the Threshold out and Ash. Please give me 3 cards to help out my Scorpios for December of 2022. What else do they need to know? 3 cards, please. First card. Card 1, please. Thank you. Okay. Card 2, please. Second card. What else do Scorpios need to know? Second card. And third card, please. Thank you. Who was this similar to? There was, I don't know if it was both. I've seen the Four of Wands out already, and I've seen the Moon out already for other zodiac signs. So let's pull these down now. So we've got our Threshold in Ash. We have the King of Pentacles that came out in the reverse. There we go. So that could represent a specific person depending. That's how the court cards can sometimes be read. We've got the Four of Wands here in the upright. And then we've got the Moon here in the upright. So Scorpios, let's get a little bit deeper look at this energy here for you for December of 2022. Well, my Scorpios here. So we got the Threshold out. We got Ash, Reverse King of Pentacles, Four of Wands, and the Moon. The first thing I kind of want to talk about here is definitely this Moon energy. With Moon, there definitely feels like there is confusion about what's kind of going on in the situation, confusion about a next step, or we're not quite sure. Like with the Moon, things aren't really on the surface. They're not visible. They're not easy to see. That's where like everything's kind of deeper under the water here. The feelings, the fears. The Moon, when it shows up in a tarot reading, is talking about like our subconscious, our intuition, those deeper fears and anxieties, sometimes things that are hidden from us. And this energy is like this confusion and this not knowing kind of how to progress next is showing up with the King of Pentacles in reverse as well. Usually our kings are super strong energies, super strong beings that are firm and know what's going on, know what they're doing, know what their goals are and what they want to accomplish. And this in the realm of the Pentacles, our physical reality, earthly energy, the finances, the career, that kind of home, those pieces of the environment here. With it showing up in reverse, though, this is an energy that is not sure how to progress, how to move forward with the situation. And that's showing up definitely with our threshold here as well, right? The threshold, this next big step, this next big part of our journey, the stepping stone through the life, the next like big goal in life that we're working towards or we're moving into, right? It's something to be celebrated for sure. This is that Four of Wands energy. The Four of Wands is that celebration, but it's also the energy of a foundation that we've built, that we put in time and effort into, our fours being that foundation piece. So Four Wands, the Four Wands holding up the tent here, right? Holding up this home, this feeling of joy and creativity and celebration here, right? Like how much fun these figures are having here. So whatever this next big step is, whatever the threshold, this threshold we're on, this initiation we're stepping into, something to be excited about, something that's big and awesome and fun and is really a really big, powerful thing that we're super excited to go about, right? It's this next big thing that it's like, okay, hey, you feel like you are taking a step up, you're leveling up in your life here, you're moving on to this next big thing. So it's something like, hey, you're coming into adulthood, right? You're graduating, you're moving out finally, maybe you're moving out from an apartment and getting a house finally, right? It's your first house, those kinds of big things, something that's like a really big celebration energy. Having a child, those are like exciting things that you can be very celebratory about and that are this big threshold energy here, right? But the confusion comes in here with this Moon and King of Pentacles, right? Where it's like, okay, how do we progress? How do we move forward? How do we go about getting this next big thing that we're wanting? How do we get to this energy here? How do we like accomplish this? The energy and the power to make the changes necessary in order to achieve whatever this is, right? So it's something that is exciting and we want to achieve it and be very excited about, but there is lots of subconscious fears and deeper things here that we're not quite sure about. Like we're not sure exactly how to progress forward. There's like these fears here that are showing up with the Moon and the King of Pentacles, where it's like, okay, hey, this is something I'm super excited to be doing, but I don't know how to do it, or it feels scary to do because there's so many things to take care of, right? There's so many things to get done in this physical reality with the King of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, how do I finance this thing? Where is it going to be? It's all the ifs and like the how, when, where, why, all the W's here. It's kind of what the King of Pentacles feels like, how to actually go about bringing whatever this energy is into the physical reality, how to actually accomplish the thing that we're trying to work our way into, right? We can't feel like we're taking that next step into our lives without it being actually like brought into the physical reality at the same time, right? We can say all we want that, where it's like, okay, hey, we're going to move out, but we can't do that until we have the finances available to us. We've looked at the place where that we want to live. We've decided if we're moving out on our own or with a roommate, or we've like budgeted for everything. We have like all those pieces in place, right? So the King of Pentacles here has confusion about what steps maybe those are, what all the steps required are in order to accomplish said thing, or it's just getting a little overwhelming here where the fears are coming in with the moon over here. It's going to be something big to celebrate. Like you've told everybody, hey, I'm moving out. I'm just going to continue with this example. Hey, I'm moving out. So everybody's super excited and celebratory, but people are asking, oh, hey, do you need help moving? When do you need help moving? What date? What time? Can I do this thing for you? What about this? And you don't have the answers to those questions here. You don't know what's actually kind of like the plan isn't in place yet, is kind of what it feels like here. And the fears are kind of holding us back a little bit in that, because if it's something, whatever this big threshold energy is, this initiation energy, it's something we haven't done before maybe. And it's scary because we don't know what we don't know. And that's where this fear is coming in with the moon here. And where Ash is coming in here with the moon as well to like really pull us down into this energy is to like, okay, hey, what wisdom do we have? What wisdom can we pull from in terms of like ancestral energy, parents, friends, people who know more things than us? This is that Ash energy, but also we need to create the space in order for this thing to come about in the first place, right? This Ash energy, it's like, okay, hey, this is after things have been burned and cleansed and purified, right? It's opened up the space in order for this new thing to be built, right? This new foundation with the Four of Wands to be built. And that also comes with its own fear at the same time, right? Where it's like, okay, maybe you haven't gone through this process yet. You haven't cleared out these things that you need to in order to bring about this thing, right? You can't move out and like be on your own for the first time, right? If you haven't like gone through all your clothes and made sure you got rid of things that you don't need anymore, right? You haven't checked your credit and made sure that you can qualify for what you need to qualify for. You haven't there's pieces to do even before we get to the point where we can progress forward. There's the pre-steps, and then there's the actual steps, and then there's the actual doing, right? Where it's like, okay, if I think it's in terms of manifestation, right? I remember reading about it in the book The Secret a long time ago, where it's like, if you want a partner, right? You want to have a significant other. If there's not space for them energetically, then they're not going to come about, right? So it's how the book described it was okay, you clear out some of your old clothes and you have half a closet that allows the room for this person to be here, right? There's empty spaces for this person to be able to fill. So in order for you to have the space in the first place to bring about this new energy, we have to burn away, clear some things, right? In terms of a forest fire, in a forest, new growth only happens when the fire goes through and then clears away all that underbrush, all the things that have died, like the dead trees and all the things, all that dead fuel that's on the bottom of the forest floor, burns it out and clears it. And then this ash at the end fertilizes the soil and allows for the new things to grow and start that process of rebirth, regrowth, succession in terms of the ecological system here. I've got a background in natural resources, so that's where my brain kind of went with that succession process, right? So we have to create the space here, even in the first place, to build this foundation. And we're just getting a lot of confusion here, right, for how to go about these steps, how to go about it. We know we have all this power and ability, maybe we do have the finances we need, but we haven't applied for a loan yet. We haven't applied for a loan. It's the first time applying for a loan, going to the bank. So there's so many pieces and steps in that process, right, that brings up some fear and some subconscious fears and unknowings. We don't know how to go about doing this. So it's like, okay, we know our finances are fine. We know we have the credit needed in order to qualify for the loan, but actually like going and applying for the loan for the first time is scary, right? So what we need to do, if Scorpios, it feels like, is really leaning heavily more into our intuition, identifying those fears, right? This is that ash energy. This is the moon energy. We need to figure out what is going on underneath the surface, so that way nothing really takes us by surprise. In order to progress the threshold energy, getting into the celebration energy of the Four of Wands, the moon energy, whatever it's hiding, it can't be like a mystery to us anymore. We can't let it be the mystery, because if there's things that are hidden from us that we don't know, we need to clear out and burn with this ash energy. We're not going to progress through into the threshold energy we need to. Or threshold initiation energy does happen regardless sometimes, but we have the opportunity to be much more prepared versus being thrown into the deep end here, right? You are willingly stepping into the deep end here with a threshold versus being pushed and having to figure it out along the way. And some people, that's what they're good at, what they want to do. Maybe that is what needs to happen in the situation, right? Where it's that helps you overcome the fears, just being pushed into it, where you just have to figure it out as you go. That does work really well for some people, but there is opportunity here to not go through that process if you don't want to actually build the foundations needed here in order to step willingly and confidently into this next threshold, this next initiation process in our life, Scorpio. With the King of Pentacles here especially, that's really showing that energy, and this thing is exciting. So the universe does want this to happen. It does want this to be the case, right? It's like, okay, hey, this is an exciting thing. So you have the power and ability to do it. It's just what fears are holding us back and what we need to finish clearing out, making space for it in our lives in order for it to come about in a much more easy, fluid manner, okay? That's kind of what's going on, Scorpio, is what it feels like here. So with ash energy, just keep in mind, really dig down deep here in December, figure out what's going on under the surface for you, what you're actually scared of, what actually fears you have, and recognize the power you have, so that way you can actually move forward and make progressive, good steps to finish clearing out what needs to clear out, to make the space to step into this new energy and celebrate it, okay? Be excited for it. It's a big deal. It's something fun. It's exciting. It's new. It's something to be celebrated. So remember that. Keep that in mind here as you're moving forward, Scorpio. This is something exciting. This is something to be happy about. So lean into that energy as well, and that'll help you deal with the fears as you're progressing the situation through December, okay? So keep that in mind. This is what we got for December of 2022. I'll see you next month in January. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello to my Pisces. Pisces, you're the final group I'm recording here for the December 2022 Zodiac reading. So we got the threshold out here and we've got ash out, Pisces. So let us get a 3-card spread now from the Light Seers Tarot and see how this energy applies specifically to you for December of 2022, okay? So, Light Seers Tarot out. Okay, Light Seers Tarot, in regards to the threshold and ash, what does Pisces need to know for December of 2022? 3 cards, please. Card 1. First card. 1 card. Thank you. Okay. Second card, please. Thank you. And third card, please. Okay. Cool. Flew out. So, let's see. Light Seers Tarot has been liking sideways cards lately, which is, at least for this one. But since these aren't like a past, present, future or anything, it doesn't really matter if the card's coming out sideways. It's more, I read the cards all as a whole together. So if it makes more sense for you to do it past, present, future, that is up to you and how you want. But card number 1 that we had, the first card that comes out is going to be Justice here, but Justice is coming out in the reverse. So Justice in reverse. The second card here is the 7 of Cups. Interesting. This has come out for multiple zodiac signs. And then finally we have the 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands in neither the upright nor the reverse. It's coming out sideways here. So that energy will kind of depend on the situation a little bit more specifically, or how you're interpreting it, or how the rest of the reading pans out. So we got Justice in reverse, 7 of Cups in the upright, and 5 of Wands sideways with the threshold and ash, Pisces. So let's get a little bit deeper look at everything here, okay? So my Pisces, we are in a little bit of conflict, aren't we? We are hearing this call, right? So justice in reverse coming in is things being unbalanced. This justice is this greater call, this call to something bigger than ourselves, right? Justice energy is big, and you think of things on like a large scale, right? Justice for a whole, the equality for humankind, those kinds of big energies. But justice coming in reverse, we're not paying attention to kind of what we should be paying attention to here. This threshold, this initiation process is something that's really scaring us, is really confusing us here, and we're trying to ignore it, is what it feels like here. I don't know what this is. You're going to know better than me for what this energy specifically is referring to, but whatever this thing is that you are purposely ignoring or putting on the back burner here is just going to keep calling and reaching out to you, right? What ends up happening with something like a threshold energy, this initiation energy is really big stuff, Pisces. It happens to us sometimes regardless of what we would hope for, what we want. It's something that scares us, but sometimes we get forced into it, even if we don't want to, because it is that next step for us, for our spiritual growth, for our spiritual evolution. And it's honestly better to flow with this energy than it is to try and push against it, right? We see the conflict here with the Five of Wands over here, right? All these wands, these different people working against each other, kind of fighting against each other to reach this goal, this fire that's up on the top here. And they're not working together in tandem with each other. They're competing against each other, but they're not really like hurting or fighting each other necessarily, but there's a lot of disharmony and conflict here. And we definitely see that disharmony as well across the entire spread of the three cards here, but with the Seven of Cups as well. Seven of Cups really talking about confusion and all these choices and options before us, all these pretty shiny cups that we don't know what to pick. They each all have these different options and things that they can bring us, and they all seem pretty and shiny and new, and we wanted to have all of them, but that's not the case, and that's not what's going to be the most beneficial for us, right? Justice energy comes in with balance and with this strict cutting energy at the same time, right? It's not as bad as like judgment is, but we do see that sword there that can cut the energy and actually make sure that what is present, what is left at the end of the day, is what's going to be the most beneficial for us. And this is what that ash energy does too. It's kind of the energy we need to get into, the transformation energy that is present for you here, Pisces, to get to this ash energy, but it's not in its ash state yet. It's the time before, right, where it's the force of the threshold energy, right, being the force of the fire, the jumping into the fire, where this fire is going to burn regardless, and what is left will be ash, but it's going to be up to you, Pisces, for what you actually let burn and what you let this cleansing fire energy clear out, right? This is what these people are fighting over at the top, right? This fire energy at the top, this cleansing energy is what's present and what we're working, what's going to happen regardless, but it's going to be up to you, Pisces, for how you let the situation progress and what you take care of in the long run, right? This is forcing you, it feels like, to make clear choices. The Seven of Cups showing all the confusion, but the ash at the same time helping, trying to like bring in intuition and deeper knowledge and deeper thoughts, because we need to keep things in balance here. This cleansing fire feels like it's going to come through regardless, and we need to make sure that the things we actually care about are not what gets burned up in the fire, right? The fire comes in, it's this destructive energy in this case for you, Pisces, kind of a tower energy a little bit. It comes in to help clear the field out, helps clear space at the bottom. I think I was talking about it for for Scorpios, right, where it's sorry, my thumb's like shaking here, which is really weird. Ooh, I don't know if you can see that. There we go, a little bit. Something's going on here, Pisces. Shake that out a little bit. But I was talking with Scorpios about the forest fire and how a forest fire comes in to clear that dead underbrush, all the buildup of this fuel that's needed. The fires are coming through consistently and in a manner that is in sync, in balance with the ecological system. They are healthy for the trees and the plants and everything. They clear up the underbrush and allow new things to fall into the get into the soil using that ash for fertilizer to bring lots of good nutrients to the soil, and then there's new things able to grow. But those new things cannot come about, cannot be brought into the environment without this cleansing fire that's happening first. There needs to be space, and space needs to be cleared for it in order for new things to come about, right? To stepping into this new threshold energy. But for you Pisces, it feels like we have a lot of doubt and a lot of fear about what this is, right? We're not even at the point to be excited, fearful for it. We're just straight up like, don't want to deal with it, is kind of what it feels like, Pisces, right? This is that justice in reverse where it's like, nope, we're not going to look at this. We're not going to pay attention to it. So this is when things get out of balance, Pisces, and you're probably feeling that in other areas of your life, right? There's this Five of Wands over here showing areas of conflict as well, different conflicts and disagreements. You're probably seeing it's possible that you're seeing it in other areas of your life. It's maybe not even in regard to what this threshold justice energy is talking to, right? Whatever call you're ignoring here, this deeper thing, this next big life step that you're ignoring that you need to do, right? It's like maybe it's time for you to really move out of that roommate situation that you're in, but you don't want to, you're scared to do that. You don't want to take that next step, that next big journey into it. So you're just ignoring it versus like, but then what happens here when we're ignoring the calls of the universe, right? In my experience, things get progressively harder. Things get much more and more difficult, right? The universe is trying to happily at first encourage you to change up the situation, to move on to the next step, to jump into this threshold energy. But if you're ignoring that, ignoring the call of the universe to change up what's supposed to be changed here, to let things burn and settle and move on and progress with this ash energy, then things get progressively more difficult, right? So take the roommate situation, right? Where it's like, okay, it's the situation with your roommates, there's more arguments that pop up, right? Maybe then all of a sudden you have an infestation of bed bugs in your room. You have the refrigerator goes out, the things that are happening, more and more things keep happening that are in a negative manner that try and force you to progress and move out of the situation, right? It's like you're supposed to move house. You're supposed to move out of this apartment, for example, right? So the universe is like, you didn't want to listen. So then more and more things start going wrong. More and more things start becoming adversities in your life, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, I'll send you don't have hot water anymore, right? The water heater goes out, so you can't like get hot water consistently, and it takes forever for maintenance to come, and for your apartment owner person or whatever, the manager to get this thing fixed, right? It's then the refrigerator goes down, and you have all of a sudden like all these things. Anything that's could go wrong starts going wrong. In my experience, for when we're ignoring the call of the universe to change up the situation and progress in the way we're supposed to progress, right? The universe forces us into this if we are not willing to go on our own, because the universe ultimately knows what's best for us and knows what we need to do, right? And eventually, once you listen, right, you move out of that next place. It ends up being easier than you thought it was to move, and you're so much more happy in the situation that you are now in versus what the universe was trying to force you and that you weren't letting go of. So for you, Pisces, it's you gotta make some space, right? The universe really wants to try and rebalance things for you, right? With the Seven of Cups here and the Justice energy in the reverse, it's really trying to like help you rebalance life and your situations here so that things can progress and be easier. The threshold energy, this initiation, is scary. I do understand that, and I know the feeling for that, where it's like, okay, you don't want to move on to this next thing because you've gotten so used to this comfort zone, this thing that it feels comfortable, it feels safe, right? The safety net that's around you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we can't grow and progress and learn new things and become who we really, really want to be in the long run if we do not work with this threshold energy and move into it and let it change us for the better. Let the things clear away with the fire and have this beautiful ash at the end, right? Ash feels very destructive sometimes. It's the leftoverness of that destruction, but it is the deeper emotions, that kind of silky ease of emotions, and moves with the wind and flows really easy and well, and leaves behind what was actually important in the long run, the knowledge, the awareness, the wisdom. It leaves that behind for us to learn from and progress from and take with us, as it's like it sticks to us, right? That ash just sticks to everything. So it adds a layer, a coating to the whole thing, where it's like, okay, hey, this is what we know, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to move into. So the threshold energy, while very scary, does allow for us to progress and learn and grow and be happier in the long run. It just seems really scary, and it just scares us, right? It just makes us really, really scared, and we don't know if we want to do it, even though in our heart of hearts we do know that this is what we need to do, right? So we try and distract ourselves with the Seven of Cups, with all the other pretty shiny things that are around and everything, but we keep coming into this resistance and opposition, and things progressively more difficult. So there's the image that popped into my mind with the rope, right? Holding on, and the rope's hurting us and burning, and like we're getting hurt from it, versus just letting go. And that hurts less in the long run versus holding on, okay? So Pisces, a lot going on for you at the end of the year here for sure, right? For December. You're in the process of beginning this threshold ash energy, and it's scary right at the start for sure, right? But dive into your intuition, dive into your emotions, really figure out what is scary here, what is fearful for you, and start making plans. Start making plans to make things a little bit easier, right? This energy will ease up if the universe knows and sees that you're actively making effort to change and work into this energy here. It'll give you those opportunities. It should be easy. So if things are not easy, things are not flowing the way they're supposed to be doing, then you're probably not doing the right thing at the right time, okay? So really trust your intuition here. Really trust the universe and lean into the energy of ash and the wisdom that you have of everything that's kind of come before, and ask for help if you need it, okay? Because that'll help make this a little bit easier. Once, I think for January for you, and starting in the new year, there'll be much more ease of energy here. It's just really hard at the moment because we have a lot of fear here, okay, Pisces? So just keep all this in mind. This is what we got for December right now. It's just in a temporary energy for sure, and it's up to you for how you progress this energy as you're moving forward, okay, Pisces? But that's what I got for you for December. I'll see you again next month in January. Have a good month, okay? And I'll see you in the next reading. Bye.